The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven in the pan. That dude Biz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin flying round the field. Starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot the depot, yes, these other sports podcasts live as a froze corpse. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boss ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats and the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season. The people starting five. We going in on three. Run the baseline, starting five. Get it. We got what you need. If it's sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three. Run the baseline, starting five. Get it. We got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign. I'm the illest cat stick. I got what you need.
Finally, we're getting what the hell we need, and that's some damn good weather. But we back with the newest episode of Start at 5. As always, please, I gotta do a better job with this. I gotta start sharing the freaking link tree. I always want to say go to the star5podcast.com, but the website is down. The link tree is in the I need to actually share the link in the comments, pin the comments, all that good stuff. So I'll get that going after I tell you it's your mom's favorite fat guy in the building. Actually, outside of the building because this weather is too damn good today. Little cloudy, but it don't matter. My fat ass was sweating. But Jamal, what's good with you? I see we both outside chilling, getting our melanin on in no sun, but still works out here.
Bro, I'm good, man. Coming off 12 straight days of work. It's a beautiful day out here. I'm sipping on a little something. I'm not going to share their name because they're not paying for nothing. So, but enjoying this weather, man. Enjoying these NBA playoffs and such. Just having a peaceful Sunday, brother.
Word. Peaceful Sunday. It has been so far, man. Just woke up early. My body. When you get that moment of like your body wants to get up, but you're just not there, and it's like
Every
fuck.
day,
I want to stay. I want to stay asleep longer, but your body's like, come on, nigga, let's go. Let's
Yes,
go.
sir.
Let's get up and let's get rolling. And there was nothing to get rolling to today. It was just a regular Sunday, but my wife was up before me. She was getting her things ready because she wanted to make a certain thing that she liked. So she got that ready. One of my kids who's freaking hardhead had to make up a whole bunch of work. So she's been working all day. You know what I'm saying? Got the oldest daughter barely wanting to do what she's supposed to do. My youngest daughter, she listens, but kid shit, we got kids. Kids don't listen. Kids do what the fuck they want to do until they want something. We all been there. Don't act
Yes,
like
sir.
you haven't, people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was me, man. For 12 days, I was looking forward to this day. So I'm gonna sleep in. Take my time today. Whatever. Just get out of bed when I want to. Man, 10 minutes to 7, I was up.
It's the body telling you
Whatever.
normal routine shit.
That's it. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm glad though. Today's good. So
Yeah. Mainly just because, like I said, it's because of the weather. We got planes flying in the background. Not over here though.
no, that's me, bro. I live in between like 3 major airports, and then there's an Air Force base not too far from here.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
they gonna get this weather because when the weather's good, we outside. Literally,
that's right.
we outside. So they gonna get whatever comes with the elements. Nonetheless, we still drop dope content for y'all. But let's jump right into this. TJ's coming in a little late. Let me hit the screen share. So for everybody listening on the podcast stream, I am showing the NBA playoffs and where they stack up right now. We got two game sevens. Both are on today. One of them is on after this show is over at 3:30. Bucks Celtics Jamal. I think we kind of called this one a game seven
We
series.
did.
I think
We
I think
did.
we called this one a seven series.
hmm Absolutely. 'Cause this should have been the Eastern Conference Finals, man. This series right here. But we got this matchup in the second round, and I think originally I called the Celtics to do it in seven. And but if I have
Yeah,
to
that you did.
amend amend the pick, bro, I'm gonna send that shit to I don't know. It's whoever wants it more, man. Bro, this series has been everything. I thought Boston was finished, and then they
Yeah,
showed their true grit, man. Tatum went off. He went off. The 46 finally,
yeah.
showed up in the way we thought he was going to,
I say
and
I realizing there's not games on, so there's no stats up just yet as I clicked over. But yeah, has Middleton been back yet? Because this again, we kind of just talked pre-show, man. It's been kind of tough to be able to sit down and watch it all. Shout outs to Facebook users saying Bucks taking it. That's where my thing lies too. Shout outs to the Rangers too. Hopefully the Rangers pull that out over Pittsburgh. But
Mhm.
as I told the dude at work the other day, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm hardcore with hockey anymore. That was early '90s stuff for me.
Same
But
here, but it's all good. I'm good on the Rangers for doing what they come. I thought Pittsburgh was gonna get them out of there.
they almost did too.
Yeah,
Fucking what? 3-1. They was up like 3-1, and
yes
then they
sir.
pulled it back. They pulled it back around to bring it back to the Garden for a 7. So let's see what happens there. But we talking about
Basketball.
the NBA
Yeah,
playoffs. I'm still
I don't know
sticking
if
with my
Middleton
Bucks
is
in
back.
7.
Okay.
No, I said I'm still sticking with my Bucks in 7.
Mhm. Shout out for the defending champs for still probably not getting the respect they probably deserve. And
Yeah,
they balling out. They looking past the injuries. Giannis is playing like he's the best player in the league. He should have been MVP. You know. Um, Speaking of MVPs, well, we'll segue into that later. But continue.
oh no, we gonna get into it because I personally believe it went the right way.
Mhm.
But we'll talk about that once the NBA playoff stuff is done. Next up, the one nobody's seen this shit coming. Suns Mavericks pull up to a freaking 3-3 tie. Jamal, like
Come
I think we
on.
called this one 5-6.
hmm Who saw the Suns? You know, if I have to just use the James Harden track record, we got to apply that to Chris Paul too. And I love Chris Paul. I love his game, and I think Chris Paul always has a shot to be talked about as the MVP every season. The way he brings to the court, but man, postseason he don't deliver. You
Yeah.
know, how did with Booker back too, man? How did they let them get back into that series? It don't make no sense.
Neither do I, man. And another series that I haven't been able to keep track of just because of being busy. But I'm still sticking with my son's pick. I'm not going to give no details on this series because my focus has been elsewhere in these playoffs, especially after
hmm
watching the last game. But shout outs to my cousin Shake, who was on the show last night. I mean last week. Make sure y'all check out the End of Regulation podcast. He threw some trepidation in our minds last week when talking about the Warriors and the Grizzlies series because the Warriors got smacked up. I think in what was it, game 4, game 5, or something like that. But that trepidation was later relieved when the Warriors beat the Grizzlies 4-2 in
That's not
uh in
surprising though.
in, in a yeah. I think we called I think I know we called this one in either 5 or 6. I think I called this in 5 possibly, but
Yeah.
the Warriors pulled it out. Like this almost felt like a no-brainer. This should go this way.
hmm
But I appreciate the fuck out of this Grizzlies team, man. Like watching the last 2 games, like even with no Ja Morant, you're not scaring these kids.
Mm-mm.
You're not. There's no. There's no fear in none of these kids' bones. They didn't give a fuck who you were, who your mama is, who your daddy was, whether you came back an injury or not, whether you were a three-time champion, as you
Sure.
know, this Warriors team, some of the members used to be. They did not fear anybody. So I think this Grizzlies team can make a nice solid run for the next few years going into the playoffs, and at least the 3rd to 5 seed or 2nd to 5 seed. Like they got a strong cast of young cats that are gonna be around for a while, I think, Jamal.
Yes, sir. They were a pleasure to watch. Even that last round against Minnesota. That's them young teams, young athletic teams, just running up and down the court. It looked like ABA basketball the way they was playing, bro. Um, and they're fearless. Ultimately, I think the collective playoff experience of the Warriors, we knew would at some point would just come and take over. But I think the future looks bright, even without Morant. Actually, without Morant, they look like they're stronger defensively. They're more pesky defensively when Morant's not
Yeah,
on the floor. Um,
they did.
so that's something to watch too. But that team, there's no fear in them. There's no quitting them. They come to throw it down on you. They're gonna push the pace on you. Um, they don't tire. That's another thing. So they're going to be a problem for a minute, especially if they can keep Morant there, you know,
And healthy. And
and healthy.
healthy.
And
And healthy.
that's the only thing I worry about Morant is I worry about him the same way I worried about Iverson and Derrick Rose.
And
Those
that's what
small
I
guards,
that's
you know.
something that I mentioned last week with my cousin on the show,
Mhm.
was that like John Morant, like they mentioned he mentioned how his man said that John Morant needs to work on his mid range and outside shooting game.
Yes, sir.
And I personally said, yeah, that's something he needs to work on slowly and develop slowly. Like he doesn't have to rush to get that game right now. Like that's going to be something that he got to keep working towards. So when he is 5 to 7 to 10 years down the line, he loses that step. He loses a little bit of bounce in his springs. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And then he has to add on to the game. He's got time.
He does
He's
have
got
time.
time. He's got time to develop properly. And that's
Yeah.
just what needs to happen. Is just they need to take time to develop properly and slowly. Like he doesn't have to rush his game, continue to play at how he plays, but just don't play at reckless abandon, which I don't think he really does. The kid plays very smart. He
He
plays
does
very
play
smart.
smart.
Yeah, and very
I
skilled
just
kid too.
Yeah, he's very skilled, and I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get that jump shot. He's going to that outside shot, that mid range. Um, sorry, brother. Um, yeah, I just every time I see him hit the floor, bro, from going inside, it worries me. But I think he's going to be all right. I mean, Tony Parker was kind of like that in his career too. All them points in the paint, hitting his paint, but he developed that little mid range that should extend his career. And I think Ja's going to do the same thing. But that kid is a problem. That kid is a
He
problem. Like
is.
especially when it's a close game and you need a bucket, he's he's a problem.
For real, for real. But the problem, besides TJ just finally making it in and freezing right out the gate, I don't know why. But the problem out there is anybody who ever believes as a Philadelphia 76ers fan, this is our year.
Whew,
That's a problem.
whew, Lord.
Once again, once again, Jamal, you have the floor, man. You're closer to that shit than we are, so you have at it.
Yes, sir. I live in the middle of Philadelphia sports fandom here in Central NJ, and I think when I was to reference back to how we started the show, Dan, when I said I planned on sleeping in today, and I don't know why my eyes just popped open, and I was up at 10 to 7, because I think the basketball gods is waking me up and letting me enjoy this first Sunday sans Philadelphia basketball in quite some months. But let's just say that it's always a beautiful thing when prophecies ring true. And there's a prophecy of the second round with a certain squad that has been happening for years now, that you could bank on it, that you can invest in. And those poor Sixers, man. Those poor Sixers. But y'all still there? I lost everybody.
No,
There we
we're
go. My
here.
bad.
I was literally giving you the floor.
Okay, so yes, sir. Sorry. I will continue. So we've been hearing since the trust the process, since their arrival of the Sixers in their winning ways, that they were the most exciting team in the East. They're the best team to come out the East. They're gonna come out the East every year, and they find a way every year to not make it past the second round. And I know we're gonna hear you a Knicks fan. At least we sniffing playoff basketball, but there's something to knowing when your team sucks, to not having the expectations and not getting your heart broken every year. But in all fairness, though, I feel sorry for Joel Embiid because that's one of my favorite players, and I feel like what the Sixers are doing is kind of what the Knicks did with Patrick Ewing, and they are wasting this man's prime, and they are wasting
Point.
they are
To a
wasting
point,
him,
I
and
agree.
I'm seeing the parallels and others. Even though they have brought in help, and Patrick Ewing, let's face it, really didn't have much help, but they brought in help. But shame on James Harden, shame on Doc Rivers. I would like to applaud Brett Brown, who was scapegoated, right? But that team quit. That team absolutely quit. And James Harden, I wouldn't give him no money. I would actually let him walk or do something. But I wouldn't give him no money. Um, and Embiid played with that broken face and everything, and I give it to him. But when you're in the MVP talk, brother, you got to gut that out, man. If you're on the floor, you got to show you the MVP.
Yeah.
And you know, Tyrese Maxey, good young player, good Kentucky combo guard. He played well, but here we are again with the Sixers, and they bring in Doc Rivers back. I don't know what they're going to do to help this team. You think later next year Maxey will be a little bit better, but Embiid's going to be older. I don't know what's happening with James Harden, but this squad found another way to lose in the second round, and I'm going to enjoy it only for the folks that believe that every year they're coming out the East and they got a squad. Because when they got James Harden, the sky was the limit. Yeah, we won that trade. The sky was the limit. Harden was
The
going to do this,
sky,
and whew,
Jamal, the
the
sky
is
was
the
the
limit.
limit, and the ceiling was the roof. The sky was the limit, and the ceiling was the roof. Shout outs to the good brother Chris Milner, because he told us up and down that the Sixers won that trade. It didn't look the same, even though that actually, let's keep it real. That
It's
trade
a
was a
double
fucking
loss.
that
Yeah,
trade
it's
was a
a
wash.
it's a
That trade was a
mutual loss.
wash.
Yeah,
Like you got one throwaway in James Harden, who is not worth 60 million a year. Not worth. He's barely worth 15 to 20 million a year right now, other than in name value. But damn it, I lost the train of thought that I wanted to throw to TJ. But what's up, good brother? Nice to see you finally making it.
Yeah, thank you, fellas. What a glorious day it is, isn't it, gentlemen?
boy. Mm.
Yo, don't forget, James Harden has an opt-in for $47 million next year. I don't think he's going to walk away from that. They
Oh
have no
hell no!
control. They have no control over that. All right. He says he's going to opt in. They got to pay that man his money. And why
It's
is
just
nobody talking about the perennial all-star Tobias Harris?
oh, that's
Who?
what I was gonna say, TJ. Hold on. Thank you. You reminded me.
Who?
No, hold on, Jamal, because to what you said about the Sixers and I don't know this, that, and the third next year. This is why I came out after the end of what was it, game 6, and said this Sixers team actually needs a year to gel. And they also need Tobias Harris in a fucking headband. So we know who that man is again. TJ, thank you for saying his name
Yo,
reminded me exactly what I wanted to
you
say.
want to talk about the invisible man? They are paying
Yo,
that dude max money to just run up and down the court, bro. How is he avoiding he avoids all the blame?
bro,
It's only Harden and Embiid.
for
Nobody
years
mentions
now.
this dude's name. Tobias the Assassin Harris?
Come on.
What?
Did he get max money when they got him?
Yes.
Close
Oh,
to. Yeah,
oh,
for it was like $120 something million
mm,
deal, I think it was,
mm.
but it was like max for his level player
Right.
at that time. You know what I'm
And I'm
saying?
not
Like,
mad at them for giving him that money and getting him at that time because he looked like he was, he looked like a baller. But
I don't
and
know,
I
man.
think it was also too is like, excuse me, I think like the way the max deal situation is like if you are like already a part of that team, you then have the ability to reach this amount. But I
You can
believe
go over
that
the cap if you're a part
yeah,
of that
like
team. Yeah.
I think he got that deal when he got traded to the Sixers, right? I think
I'm
towards
not
the end of the
I'm not 100% sure, but they got him for a max deal and he hasn't done shit. Nada. Zilch. Zero. With Ben there, with Harden there, with Embiid there. All the pressure's off of him. Why aren't you should be averaging 18 points a night, my guy? Easy.
so let's look at this stretch with Embiid. So they've had Jimmy Butler, they've had Ben Simmons, they've had Tobias Harris, they've had James Harden, all in Embiid's time, and they have the same amount of championships as the Knicks to go with it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful
it
thing.
is. It is, but
Yo,
I
listen, Philly's window is closing if it's not already closed, bro. The only person that wanted to play in Philly was James Harden. Anybody else that came to Philly was traded there. Butler was traded there. Tobias Harris was traded there. All these other folks were traded there. They didn't voluntarily say, "Hey, send me to Philly." The only superstar or person or yeah, superstar that wanted to play in Philly was James Harden. How'd that work out?
great point. No, great point. But
Mm.
it's also how you we can say how'd that work out. It only has worked for the last third of the season, if not quarter of the season. And he was there to help usher them into the playoffs.
Right.
Okay. And now numbers wise, we don't have his stats up to really to do anything about to talk about that. We don't have his stats up.
But
And
he took two shots in the second half of a game seven. The same
right.
exact he had the same exact performance as Ben Simmons
But
in a game six as Ben Simmons did in a game seven of last year.
and so TJ, here's the thing when it comes to that, in my opinion. He tried to well, there I watched that game and I will sit back and say that the 76ers quit by midway third quarter. Like they kind of just knew it was over once
Jimmy
they
took
couldn't
their heart.
really. Oh, well, not yeah, and it wasn't just Jimmy because PJ Tucker was down there pulling boards, offensive rebounds in Joel Embiid's face
He was beasting,
Let
bro.
me ask you this.
several times over. But hold on
Hmm.
real quick because the point I wanted to say was fuck you go ahead because I sidetracked. It
How
was
does a
brain
team
fart season.
with no superstars beat a team with two superstars, a former MVP and an MVP candidate for the past like 2 years?
That shit don't matter because, like I like to say, it's any given Sunday. And it's just the way the ball bounces. Sometimes you can have fucking Kobe, Shaq, LeBron, and Jordan on the team. They can still lose. The dream teams of the early 2000s that were never supposed to lose, that I think placed third.
Here's how Philly lost.
It's
Okay,
supposed to happen.
Why they
they
get rid
traded
of
away all their shooters. They
that
had
part?
tons of shooters.
Hmm.
They traded them away. Their bench is ass, strictly ass. They have nobody that's scaring you off their bench. You're gonna get run off the floor when Philly's benches on there.
So
And if Harden is not playing up to standards, you can't stagger him and Embiid because Harden's not giving you anything. So it's just
mhm.
Embiid. All right. But these Philly fanatics, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to listen to reason. Like we've been trying to tell them this for years.
Hmm.
There's more
This is not a
confidence.
team built. You need shooters around Joel Embiid, and consistently traded them away. There was like, oh, Steph Curry wouldn't help. Seth Curry wouldn't help. Seth Curry's a shooter. You have to put a man on him. You just can't leave him wide open.
That's right.
He's
That
not
was the
Danny
dumbest thing they
Green.
did.
He's way better than Danny
Hmm.
Green. Niggas will let Danny Green shoot all day, every day. He'll go 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5.
That
You
was
know what I'm
my
saying?
question. Why was Seth Curry included on that swap?
They should have
Why?
included Danny Green
Yeah.
instead of Seth Curry. But the Nets knew what
The
they were
Nets
doing.
wouldn't have took that. The Nets wouldn't have
Right,
took that. Yeah.
right.
But like Ed said here, and I'm gonna get back to some of the other comments made too. He said Harden didn't want to play for Philly. Harden wanted to play with Mr. MIT, Daryl Morey. Bigly difference. Now,
Daryl
Ed, I
Money.
gotta say, yeah, I see Daryl Money
Money
because
Maury.
That's right.
Ed, what I wanted to say was I was thinking in wrestling brain, and when I saw MIT, I was waiting for you to put the B. So hey, Mr. Money in the Bank, Daryl Morey.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But Ed mentioned, well, actually, we go back up. Side
Real
note
quick, while
was
you
Ed said I wanted to say dope Red Bulls jersey, but as a DC United fan, I can't do that. The homie
That's all good, Ed.
Steve Liblick from the Four Bridges and a Ferry podcast, he said they did the same thing for you and he still didn't win a ring.
Absolutely.
You know, they we did a lot that the Knicks did do a lot. We had the pieces, yet we still would get further than where the Sixers did. At
Yeah.
least that we
Facts.
would at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals
We
consistently.
went
With
to
less
two
talent.
finals.
With
We
less
went to
talent,
two
bro.
finals.
That too. He says the
Yeah.
process equals second round elimination post Sam Hinkie. The NBA ghost to Sam Hinkie is smiling for this karma of the NBA taking over this team. Said Dr. J and Barkley could show up in their prime, and Tobias Harris would still be elite.
I'm
This
gonna
is
take
my
this sip for
question.
Brett Brown, bro. Because Brett
Yeah,
Brown got scapegoated out of Philly. Here you go, Brett.
this
It's
is
for you.
this is my question. For all that tanking and the process and all this other nonsense that they did, where has it gotten them?
It's
Where
gotten
has it
them.
gotten them?
It's gotten them the potential MVP. Well, just missing out on MVP in Joel Embiid. It's gotten
You
That's
them
know,
not
that.
a lot to
It
show. That's not a lot to show,
it's
though.
not a lot to show yet, but again, when they failing on their own process, and that's where the issue is they're failing on their own process. They're out of the quote unquote Sam Hinkie trust the process era, technically, but this is when the process is supposed to start coming together. The process is supposed to start gelling. They kind of again, this Sixers team will be in the same place again next year, but they are going to be all right because this team, we can talk all the shit we want about James Harden. This James Harden is not James Harden of MVP. This James Harden is not the James Harden of Houston or the James Harden of OKC when he was first coming into his game as a six man.
Right,
This
right.
is not that guy. This guy now has to learn how to play with these guys that he had to learn how to play with on the fly with only a quarter of the season left. They need
Dan,
time to put this shit together.
they
he
won't
forced
go.
that trade, bro.
They won't go that far unless they get a bench. I don't
Mhm.
care what you say. They
No,
need a
I,
bench.
and we are in total agreement with that because
One other
yes,
thing.
their bench is ass. Their bench is definitely ass. But if we want to talk about James Harden didn't do this, James Harden did that, like yeah, you would expect a guy like him to been who was a shooter, a scorer. I watched that man throw up air balls the other night, and I was like, "Oh, it's over.
He
It's
stunk up
over."
the joint, man.
He
Yeah.
he
Yo,
tried to do his little travel skip step shit and straight air ball. I was like, "Yeah, the Sixers are finished." But this
yo,
team needs time to gel together.
It's crazy. Is that team they had pre-trade probably would have gotten farther than the squad they got now.
I believe that.
so how is it that Philly fans, how are they feeling about Al Horford killing it in the playoffs right now? And he was on Philly last year, and he was a fucking cardboard cutout
Yeah.
in Philly, and he's
I,
killing it in Boston right
is he
now.
killing it, or did he get off in one game to where we're
The
talking about
dude
it?
is contributing major minutes and points to that to
But they
carry
had
them
him
to a
out of
game
position
seven.
though, didn't they? In Philly?
Yeah, he couldn't
Yeah.
play. He couldn't play next to Embiid.
Nah, nah. So, but they thought he was cooked. So for real, you know, and
He looked cooked.
yeah,
But that happens though. Sometimes you just need a new
It's
lease
not
on
a right
life.
fit. But they should
Yeah,
have never signed him anyway. They should have never signed him anyway. That was just who was that? Who's the
Elton Brand.
yeah, Elton Brand. That's all Elton Brand. He's got his fingerprints all over that shit. When I heard that, I was like, why are they picking up Al Horford?
Well, the good news is they're bringing back Doc, so I guess they're gonna hold off on D'Antoni for one more year.
I heard D'Antoni's going to the Hornets.
Okay,
I heard D'Antoni's going to the Hornets.
he's like the Jeff Fisher NBA basketball, bro.
perfect. That's perfect.
He's gonna keep eating, man. Wow,
There's a job, he will have one. If there's a job, he will have
keep
one.
eating.
Oh my god.
That
Yeah,
right
man, I
there,
know.
that right there was the perfect comparison. Jeff
Bro.
Fisher, Mike D'Antoni. Holy shit! And Jeff Fisher's still coaching. I believe
Yeah,
he's in the A. He's in the A. What is it?
he is.
What is it? The USFL.
USFL. Yeah, I watched 2 weeks ago. I watched that. I guess is he coaching Michigan or he was coaching against Michigan? Whatever. I watched. That was a horrible game, but whatever.
Yeah, the games on the USFL haven't been that bad, to be honest with you. It's some this. It's just like you know what it is. It was like the original run of the XFL, which is coming back
Hmm.
still anyway. But it was like the original run of the XFL. It was decent football, but there was one or two standouts per team. And that's kind of what you're seeing in that league right now is the one or two standouts each team that just shine. That it's like, all right, you know what? You might get like another practice squad call up, or you
Yeah,
might get, like don't expect starting job. That ain't happening. But
No,
you're
but
gonna
somebody
get.
will get a job in the NFL off of that.
Oh yeah, they're
that's
Definitely.
what's
gonna get.
cool about it. If
Yeah,
that thing turns into like a developmental league for the NFL, I think it's a good thing.
That's
With the
what
absolutely.
they
XFL coming back.
need.
Yeah,
I've
with the
the next XFL is
Mhm.
coming back next year, I think.
See, and that's how much this country loves CTE. We got 3 football leagues.
Hey, but you know what though? The NFL needed some type of quote unquote rival, even though they'll never truly rival them. They'll never ever truly rival them. But what you just said is developmental. And
Well, what was
that's what
that league they had in Europe? They were playing over
NFL
The
there.
World League,
that was
the World League.
Yeah, that was
NFL Europe.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was like their G League for a lot of people.
right? It is growing over there. Without there's measurable intel on how popular American football is in becoming
We
in
keep sending games over there. The
England
Giants are
and especially
playing Green
Germany.
Bay over there this year.
Yeah, Germany. They absolutely love NFL football. So
Mexico too.
Yeah,
But
Mexico
also
right.
too.
but also too though, like I noticed from the standpoint from the personal side of things, because I played with guys who were playing in Poland, Finland, Iceland, and there's
Hmm.
leagues over there, professional paid leagues of American football over there, and they kind of do the same ish type of things, almost comparable, but not even comparable to the CFL, which the CFL could have been a true farm system too. But what I was trying to compare is the CFL only allows a handful of American players on each team.
Hmm.
Oh, didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Just like in these overseas leagues, they allow a certain amount, a handful of American players on each team
They
because
got to break
yeah,
it up.
yeah, not break it up, but yo, we want to have our people on.
Got to
That
Right,
makes
develop. Yeah,
sense.
right.
got
Yeah,
to
it
develop
makes
the game.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
And
But
somebody was saying, look who won the MVP this year. Jokic is a foreign player, and I think he went back to back, and Giannis won before Jokic won a couple of years ago. That's telling you how the league has expanded, from overseas. Like two
That's
foreign
true.
players
But in
is
all
one of the
fairness,
biggest,
with
huh?
Jokic in all fairness,
Giannis,
with guys like Jokic
yeah,
and
Doncic,
Luka and them,
yeah,
all those former Yugoslav countries, the game has been hardcore in there for almost 50 years. Those
yeah.
guys been good. They've been good.
Well,
and
So
you
look at
got to
Avidas
you got
Sabonis,
mhm,
Demontis' father.
yeah,
He was mad nice over there before he came to the states.
and what we got to remember too is they're playing professionally, almost straight out of high school,
mhm,
or straight from like the age of like 15, 16, or unless you're like Luca nice younger, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like You're playing straight for professional. So your
Mhm.
game, like we mentioned, like when I mentioned about the old man on the court in the summertime or some shit, like you're getting experience against the older crowd that has a
Well,
better
this
developed game. You're
Luca
getting
was
Yeah.
at 17, 18, was playing against grown ass men. You know what I'm
that's
saying? Like,
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Like you're playing 15, 16 years old professionally against grown men. Like shit, what's the name? LaMelo Ball, same shit. When they went over
in
when he
Australia.
left when he left and didn't go to college, went to fucking Turkey and all those other places over there. Like you was over there playing against 22, 23-year olds,
Grown ass men. Yeah.
grown men in these leagues. You know what I'm saying? And doing your thing. I'm burning
Yeah, I
up my
mean, the league has been
computer to
littered
kill
with
a
like
bug.
good foreign players. Like you remember Drazen Petrovic, Peja Stojakovic, Hedo Turkoglu. Like all these guys held their own. I mean, even the guy from the Spurs,
Manu
Ginobili,
Ginobili.
Manu Ginobili, mad
Oh,
nice.
Argentina's got some. Yeah, they got some players too in
They got
Yeah,
some
Argentina. They love.
ballers,
They
man.
love the game. Yeah.
it's that the game, the NBA game, the basketball in general has been a global game for the
It's
longest.
global. Yeah.
It's just a matter of I don't even know how we got to that point of talking about the Euro side of things, but
Developmental leagues.
because the
Developmental leagues.
developmental leagues, that's right. Developmental leagues and mentioning NFL Europe, which when we mentioned Mexico, uh Ed said Mexico has a professional football league. He wrote about them years back.
Yo, Ed, share
Real
that article, bro.
He said Real Madrid and Barcelona that own the
Hmm.
soccer clubs have
They have basketball
invested
teams. Yeah,
heavy in
for
their
real.
basketball teams,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh wow,
Hmm.
and do
Yeah, they
well
do.
in EuroLeague tournaments.
And
and that's big
developmental leagues
money.
are strong, and it's just even the pivot into boxing. You see a lot of champions now from Russia and from former Eastern Bloc nations. And you may look at their professional records, they're like, 12 and 0 and got a belt and whatever. But you look at their amateur records, they got like 130 fights, 140
Hmm.
fights.
Hmm.
Our boxers here, you'll fight 20 amateur fights and somebody wants to make money off you, so they're going to turn you pro.
Yeah, and we gotta remember
Hmm.
those amateur fights also are like you're going in for 3 round fights, 5 round, 6 round fights, like this short professional fights. Like some of the shits that they show on Top Rank Boxing on ESPN sometimes don't
Hmm.
be
Yeah, the
nice.
eight
You
rounds
get
and shit.
the quick 6 round fights, 8 round fights, shit like that, where you're taking a pounding, but it's not a consistent 12 or even old school 15 round knockdown dragouts and 100 plus fights before you hit pro shit, Yeah.
It's the experience though they're getting before they come here, and they come here. Now they make their pro debut at like 31, but they're seasoned as fuck. They're seasoned as hell. They've seen every type of fight, and they're grown ass men. And we kind of don't have that. So,
Yeah, real
because
shit.
we don't invest in the Golden Gloves the way that we used to in the amateur boxing here, like we used to.
Yo, you're so
So
right, man. You're so
yeah,
right. Golden
Yo,
Gloves used to be a huge event here in New York
yes sir,
at the
love
Garden,
it.
and
yo,
it's
it used to be like thinking about the Golden Gloves, like it was a staple to always go to the Daily
100%.
News and
The Daily
check
News,
for it.
yeah.
You don't hear
my
it. I haven't heard about the Golden Gloves in at least a decade.
my friend won a super heavyweight uh belt for Golden Gloves. This is well like more than 10 years ago. But he didn't go pro, but he
Yeah.
just wanted to do it to see if he could win it. He went out there was taking kids' heads off. You know what I'm saying?
So go. Foreign
Yeah,
countries, they take their developmental and their amateur leagues, especially in boxing, very seriously. And here we turn our guys pro so early to get that. Promoters want to get paid. All those folks want to get paid, and you know,
Well, if you've
so
been boxing from like 14, 15 years old, you're definitely getting that experience. But like you said, it's not the
it's
professional
not them.
experience like the
Them cats
foreign.
started like 12 and then make their pro debut at 31, bro. It's a
and
whole.
that's and that's the part that I wanted to touch on really quick was the age issue.
Yeah.
if if America wasn't so fucking soft in not wanting to start their children younger in certain sports, especially even sports like that, some combat, whatever, like you have to kind of quietly do it on your own and have
Hmm.
your child start from early. Over there, it's like this is what we do. This is how you do it. You know what I'm saying? This is exactly how you do it. But here in America, you'll get crucified if you had your kid run more than a fucking block to train to just throw hands if they're not
Well,
running track.
and they're
You know what
patient
I'm
there
saying?
too, though. They know the money will come, but they know if they produce a champion who's going to dominate, the money will come. Here, you want that, in a capitalistic culture, they want that money ASAP, and they don't care. They'll burn a champion out and make him peak early and go on to the next one, whoever's behind them. So, um,
Yeah.
that's part of it too. But
Yeah, you don't hear nobody holding a belt for more than like 4 or 5 years anymore. You know what I'm saying? Usually those guys used to hold belts for a very long time. They're not holding them as long as they used to anymore.
And sometimes have more than 2 fights a year, but I digress.
that's the other
Uh
thing.
Real quick, because we kind of skimmed over it, bounced to something else.
Hmm.
The MVP finally came out, and it was Nikola Jokic. I personally thought it was well deserved, mainly because one, Denver would have never made it to the playoffs without him. If you want to look at it in what a most valuable is to a team. Two, it's kind of hard to not give it to a guy who once again shows his worth to a team like that, but also improved in almost every single stat category.
He
And
exceeded what
that's
he did last year.
and
Yes.
that's where the major difference is to why I believe he deserved it. Did Joel Embiid was a valid number two. And if Jokic didn't make the playoffs, even though it's a regular season award, but if Jokic didn't make the playoffs, I would totally understand Joel Embiid getting it.
Dan,
But no, you don't compile the stats that this man did and do better than last year's MVP performance and not be the most valuable deserving.
Joel Embiid hasn't made a first All NBA team in his career. That should say something. That has to count for something. He has never made a first NBA All NBA team ever.
Well,
He's
look who
always
he's
been
stacked
second
up
or
against.
third.
Look who he's clearly stacked up against in that position.
And I don't know why people are getting bent out of shape about it. This is Joel's first healthy season, quote unquote, that he's doing this. This is his first season. We need to see more than just this season. Cause you know what? If he does if he does this again next year, all right, hands down, give this man an award. He showed some consistency. But if he's out for 40 games next year, it's the same old, same old. It's the same old, same old. He wasn't included in any voting or first team anything because he couldn't stay on the court. The best ability is availability, and he has not been available for most of his career.
Yep. When Jamal, I mean, yeah, injury, Joel Embiid, and again, I'll say it
Mr.
again.
Glass is what they call him.
Outside of LeBron James, this kid is my favorite player in the league. But if you're going to put up numbers the way Jokic did, I'm sorry, you gotta take a back seat.
Jokic lost two of his top scorers,
Yeah,
and he still put in work, which is bananas. Bananas.
Joel Embiid is nasty, man. He's
He
the
is.
nastiest offensive big man, the center, I should say, in the league. But Jokic just does too much. He just does too much, and
He just
Embiid
makes
would
everyone
deserve the
around him better.
yeah.
He
Embiid
makes
would
everyone
absolutely
around him better.
deserve the MVP if Jokic wasn't in the league. You know what I mean? So, um, but no, I don't have. I think Jokic is well deserved.
I mean,
You
his
know,
passing is ridiculous, bro.
hmm
His court vision and the way he sees over defenses is bananas. It's
I like to
bananas.
think about it this way: if just say we swap those two players, right? If Jokic was on the Sixers, would they have gotten past the Heat?
No,
No pitch. Nikola no
no,
If
pitch.
no,
if
because
if
because
if Embiid
because
was on Denver,
Philly's bench is still ass.
yeah. Oh shit, that was the biggest motherfucking B I seen all year. Um, yeah, so I don't know, man. Jokic's all around game is how he makes a team better, how he makes the players around him better. It was too much to overcome. It's just too
100%.
much to overcome. So I don't have a problem with it. But I wouldn't have been mad if Embiid got it. You know, we haven't seen a center like Embiid or what he's doing in a minute, man.
What was
So
he, the first center to lead the league in scoring in how many years?
I mean,
30, 40 years or something like that?
inside and outside game, you know,
But
He's not
that
a
I
better
wasn't
never.
shoot.
enough.
Embiid is not a better shooter than Jokic, though.
No, and he
Debatable.
usually starts shooting when he gets tired. I mean, they're about the same, I would think, right?
It's debatable because
Yeah,
I would say I would look to it more along the lines of Jokic plays more efficient. Jokic is more
With
efficient.
way less turnovers. Way less turnovers.
when
You
Embiid's
know,
tired, he gets sloppy, and then he starts launching in threes. He starts hugging the 3 point line.
which
Uh,
which you know, as he's cut the shit out several times this year, but at least this year he's making more than freaking what he normally would do. Because I JP knows, shout outs to JP, and we'll see you back soon. You're supposed to be here, but some things came up the way unfortunately he couldn't be around this week. He was supposed to come back, but me and JP used to talk about this shit for years. Get the freak from behind that damn 3 point line. Get down in the box and be dominant. Get down in the paint and be dominant. Dominate your mid range. Like this dude to me, like he reminds me, if anybody, of Patrick Ewing.
100%,
He
Yeah, you know
that's
what? You're right.
100%, man.
why I like this kid so
Yeah,
much, is because I don't see Elijah in him. He doesn't.
No,
He's quick. He's not Elijah like
he don't have the
fast and
footwork.
quick. Right.
he's stronger.
He's
He's more powerful than Olajuwon, man. He's not finesse like
Yeah,
Olajuwon.
that
He just,
that
yeah,
he is.
Right.
He could be, if not, he looks almost Shaq big.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But not pause as thick as Shaq big. You know what I'm saying? And Shaq would probably eat this kid's lunch too. But to me, his game more resembles a Patrick Ewing, because Patrick Ewing was that center that was able to do it all.
He didn't really,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
Patrick Ewing's 14-foot mid-range jumper was just money.
Dog, he was
well,
pioneering. Remember they used to criticize him for shooting back then, not
Yeah,
knowing where the
yeah,
game was going.
yeah. He was
You want
money
to talk? Yeah.
mid-range, bro. Oh
You know
my
what he would be
god.
like in today's game, bro?
he would be a gold mine. And he was good. He was good for at least one 3-pointer a game, but he knew where his game really was. His
Hmm.
game was from that 15, from 13 to 18 or 13 to 15 and lower. Yeah, he get dunked on. It's a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? But
He did, man.
defensively,
Yeah,
he had his nose on the ball all the time. He
he did.
always was scrappy, was always in there. He would square up against anybody, wasn't scared of nobody. Not saying Joelle Embiid is scared of anybody either, but the way he plays, it reminds me more of just a younger, quicker, and probably a little more skilled Patrick Ewing. He just
Ewing's
needs to stay
running
away from the 3-point line.
Ewing's running jump hook was unguardable. He would go across the paint and put his hand up and drop that shit in all the time. It was almost like a sky hook, almost. I won't call it a sky hook, but he would run across the lane and get like 3 to 6 feet out. That shit was
Bro,
gold.
it was gold.
Gold.
I went to SUNY Purchase, State University of New York at Purchase,
Yes,
where the
I'm
Knicks
very
practice.
familiar with that. Near
And
me.
we used to watch them practice. And the stuff that Patrick used to do in practice, what he never pulled off in the game, was it was pioneering. It was equivalent to what big men are doing in today's game. It just the game was different back then.
Right.
But he absolutely had those skills. He absolutely had those skills.
And that's why I compared him to Joel Embiid, because let's just take it like he's bringing out what Patrick didn't, because the game was different then. The
Right.
game was different then. But what's different is this new NFL 2022 season is soon upon us. Yo, we're almost at June already. It's crazy. How
Training
just
camp starting, right? Soon.
soon they already did the rookie mini camps and all of
They sure
that.
did.
And yeah, you know what? To be fair, because I don't have a coin. I don't have a coin to see where we're gonna go with this. All right.
Well, me
So
and Jamal are on the same team here.
I know that.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of who goes first. So I'm
We had a
gonna
we,
show y'all my
we
crotch.
we had a great mini camp. Our draft picks look good too. Just letting you know.
I'm gonna show you. I'm showing y'all my crotch by accident. Pause. But heads, tails. I'm gonna flip my phone. What do y'all
Tails
want to go
never
with?
fails. Tails never
Tails.
fails, brother.
All right. Heads it is. So Eagle, since I win, y'all going first. That's all that was for.
Oh,
Was to
you just
flip,
handed
to
us the
flip,
kickoff. You
to
handed
flip.
us the kickoff.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm taking actually the wind's blowing this way. I'm gonna kick this way. So when it's my turn,
Which
I'm gonna
goal you
fall
defending,
in.
bro? Which goal you defending?
I'm going against the wind right now. So when it's my
Okay.
turn, we get the wind coming back. So first up, the New York Giants
Go ahead,
schedule.
Jamal. I'll let you start.
Well,
The
I'm
New
showing
York
it.
Giants. Okay, go
Chill,
ahead.
chill for a second. I'm pulling it up. Pause. I talked about this with my man Nick, who happens to be my supervisor, but he's my boy because we used to work behind the truck together. And he's a big time Giants fan. He tried to say that this looks like a 10-7 season. Tried to say 11-6. Then we really sat there and looked over the schedule.
Mhm.
This schedule is very 7-9-ish.
All
That's
right.
all I'm gonna
So
We
say
have
right
one.
now.
We have one of the weakest. The NFC East has the weakest schedule out of all the divisions this year
Well,
because we play the AFC South and I think the AFC East or something like
no,
that. I'm not sure. 100% West
AFC North. You got AFC
and the
North there.
South.
Well, let's run through the schedule real quick, and then, like you said, you
mhm.
open it up to Jamal first. You got the Tennessee Titans first up, first game home away game. Then you got Carolina Panthers, followed by the Cowboys, Bears, Packers, Ravens, Jaguars, Seahawks. Bye week. Let's talk about that first half into the bye first. I
Okay.
talked with my man Nick, and I was like, Tennessee, we don't know. That could be up in the air. The Panthers,
Right.
that could be a
That
dub for
should be a
y'all.
dub. That should be a dub.
Cowboys loss.
Hmm.
Bears, a
Should be
win
a
against the
W.
Bears. Loss against the Packers. Loss against the Ravens. It's up in the air with the Jaguars because they're a new young team, and Seattle is a dub for y'all because Seattle's done. Jamal.
Um, there's two L's, hardcore L's, straight out the box. Tennessee is well coached. I'll never, pick against them as long as they're built the way they are right now and how they're playing.
Derrick
And I'm
Henry,
not,
bro.
yeah, and that coach, he's doing magic with that squad, and I'm not going to pick against Aaron Rodgers, right? As far as the rest of the schedule, I'm not worried about it because what I've learned in the
It's
last few years is you can't go by last year's stats. The parity in NFL is year to year. It's all about how well this new coach works with the talent he has. Giants much improved line. We got a few weapons. It's all about how Dibble's offense is. Um, with right now, there's no scouting report in the Giants, so that may work in our favor if he puts together a decent package. There's really no scouting report to the second half of the season. So
right.
there's only two games there that really scare me. It's Tennessee and Green Bay, and even last year, the past few years, the Giants had no identity. We were trash or whatever. There's so many games the Giants lost by a touchdown or less, with no talent.
Facts.
That by week 8 we could easily be, you know, if you
We
want
could
to
be
go as
above
positive we
500.
can, we could be
We could
above
be.
500, yeah,
We could be above 500.
you
I
know,
think we could be
or we could just be, who knows,
500.
500 or less. Who knows, bro? We
But
talking
we
about the
did
last
beat
11
Seattle
years,
with Russell Wilson. We did beat Seattle with Russell
right?
Wilson in Giant
Yeah.
But
Stadium about
they
a year
were
ago. So,
they were a shade of who they used to be. This Seattle team has been finished for a minute now. They've been
Hmm.
finished for a while. So TJ, I'll throw the second half of the schedule to you. We got Texans, Lions, Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Commanders, Vikings, Colts, and Eagles. I keep it. I'm keeping it the way I said with my man the other day. Beating the Texans. I was iffy on the Lions because we don't know the Lions. You never know what the hell you're gonna get, you know. But that
it's
should be a
not winning.
W.
It's not winning. It's
It
not
should be a
winning.
W. I call the Cowboys sweep 1-1 versus the Commanders. Eagles sweep. We sweep y'all. That is, and the Vikings. I think y'all could probably beat the Vikings, but the Colts will be a tough loss.
Yes, yes, they have a
I
solid
think
running
your
game.
bias is showing with the Eagles, though, brother.
Of course it is.
Your
Of
bias
course it is.
because we were 500 against y'all with whack teams in the past 3 years, and I don't see such a leap forward with either team that it's not going to be the same this year. I'm sorry,
Listen,
TJ. I cut into
no,
your
no,
time,
no, no,
brother.
no, 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 no. That's perfectly fine. If our quarterback can really absorb the playbook that Dable is putting out there, the game plan every week, and he has time to actually throw the ball and not run for his life, like we said, offensive line is improved. The defense is improved. Then because Daniel Jones has proved that he can make the throws, especially on the deep ball. He was very
There's not
good
a
at
throw he
throwing the
can't
deep
make.
ball.
There's not a throw he can't make. Yeah.
Exactly. That means he needs time to throw it. So if our offensive line holds up, this is a different conversation. But like you said, they got to play the games. And I think it's going to take maybe week 4, week 5 before we actually gel. I think the defense will gel. The defense always gels quicker than the offense, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? The defense knows what they got to do. If they're coached right, then they'll do what they need to do. It's just our problem wasn't stopping anybody. It was scoring points. We always had a problem scoring points. I think this year with Barkley healthy, Jones healthy, and we do have a decent amount of wide receivers, we can do some things. We can actually do some things, and we can finish with an above 500 record and maybe squeak in as a wild card. I don't think I'm not saying we're going to win the division by any means. I know everybody's picking Dallas to win the division, and they even if they do, they just flash out in the first round.
I don't know. I don't know who this everybody is, but I've been hearing a lot more people saying that this is the Eagles' division to lose this year, and you could call that biased. Y'all know I'm a realist, even though yes, I call you could say biased against me picking the Eagles sweep, but you know how it goes with us each and every year in year out. It's either 5 years, every 5 years your Giants sweep our Eagles, every 2 or 3 years in a row or back to back or alternating, my Eagles sweep your Giants, but more often than not is a split.
Well, Dan, you
It's
was
more
actually surprised this year that your Eagles actually made the playoffs. So
yeah,
these are your words.
that had nothing to do with what I was speaking on now, but absolutely I was shocked that my Eagles made the playoffs. Absolutely.
You know
but
what
I
the
think
difference
Absolutely.
on anything is? The real difference of anything is the Giants' offensive line.
that's it.
That's the
It's a
That's
key.
hundred.
it.
We
Yeah.
I think they can be 10-7 this year, honestly, if
Ooh,
they if they can get it
you
together.
you braver than me, brother.
You going 9-7? You going 9-7, or you know?
8-8
Or,
is a win for us, brother. 8-8 is a
wow.
win. It wouldn't
Hmm.
surprise me. The division is not difficult. Depending on the two things, the Giants' offensive line and the
Right.
progression of Jalen Hurts. And I like Jalen Hurts. I wanted to see him win. I wanted to see him progress. Um, but those are the two key factors for that division. If the Washington racial slurs win its division with Carson Wentz, every other team in this division, they should be ashamed of themselves, bro. Should be
Yes, you're
effing
absolutely
ashamed of
right.
themselves.
You're absolutely right.
Ashamed of themselves if that happens. But
man, that
um,
Washington sleep on that Washington team too.
It's
They've
Ron
gotten
Rivera.
much better
Don't sleep on
the
Riverboat
defense is
Rivera.
dope. Their defense is ridiculous. I'm not going to take that from them. But
It was
with
it Carson Wentz is the quarterback there now?
is the quarterback now, yeah. But the way the Eagles and Giants drafted this year had A+ drafts. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It's like
mm.
it could be different. That kid who's going to shock people this year is that kid we drafted out of Kentucky, Wandale Robinson.
The little guy.
It's a problem. It's going to be a
You think you
problem.
think you think, but I think Kadarius Toney, if he stays healthy, because
I
he
know. And
showed
imagine both those
flashes.
dudes. Imagine both those dudes.
He showed real flash. He cooked Dallas for a minute.
And the
Uh,
Eagles re-signed Cox for a year, right? For a
yes.
2-year deal. So they got Cox and they got that big brisket eating motherfucker they drafted in the first round. Um, that defensive line is it's going to cause problems, dude. And this division is not quarterback heavy. So
Do you think
imagine
Thibodeau
that
will win Defensive Rookie of the Year?
could be. He will if the who's the kid we got on the other side with the wild name. It starts with an O.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
what you're talking
If
about. He
last
does.
year
I can't.
he was an animal as a last year.
Oh,
If he
Shane. Oh,
improves,
yeah.
oh Shane, yeah. If he improves, then yeah, Kayvon will. But the Eagles' defensive line can be a problem for teams who can't get the ball out the quarterback's hands in 2.5 seconds.
Being said,
No doubt.
we're gonna go over
Mhm.
a Philadelphia Eagles schedule.
There you go.
Now I believe this is all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We should all go to the Giants Eagles game at home in Giant
I-
Stadium.
I'm down.
Oh,
We should
of
do
course
that.
there. Of course there. Not at the link. The game place where I got to play in the link, but I've never seen a home game there yet. Still to this
You know
day.
why?
But
I don't want to
I,
get mustard thrown at me, fam.
I don't want to end up in Philadelphia under the stadium jail. That's because that's what I know is gonna happen.
but as the Eagles schedule goes, we got the Lions, Vikings, Commanders, Jags, Cardinals, and then Cowgirls. This
Honestly,
could
Dan, you
go.
should go 4-0 right out the gate.
We could
Mhm.
go. We should go 4-0. It all depends on. Y'all know how I feel. It all depends on Jalen Hurts. But we could go 4-0. We could go 5-1
Mhm.
You
or
can't
four and
go
two.
2-2 though. You absolutely cannot go 2-2.
You go 2 and 2, you got problems the rest of the
Well,
year.
I,
Yes,
I
yes.
also called out the first 6 games leading into the bye week. So your math is not mathing right now.
I'm talking
I,
about the first 4 games, but yes,
oh yeah, the
My
first
bad,
four
man.
games we could come
you
out the
cannot
gate
go two and
4
two.
We
Yes,
would hope
but
so. But in some respects, though, in some respect, just like how the Eagles gave up on Donovan McNabb and sent them off to Washington, and he beat us the first game. I rooted for McNabb and Washington to beat us that first game. I will not be upset if Carson Wentz beats us that first game because of how we
wow,
kind of
Why?
gave up on him.
wow,
I
Why,
I
fam?
I
wow.
still I believe in Carson Wentz. If he didn't get hurt, I think
That's
our
true.
Super
You were
Bowl
one of the
season.
consistent dudes.
Who
I,
does
I remember
I
that.
Washington have? That monster kid that's on
It's their
Washington.
defense, fam. It's their
Jamar
Yeah,
defense.
their
Jamar Chase.
defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's a
No, it's not
problem,
Jamar
bro.
Chase. Chase is that's the wide receiver. But
Right.
I forgot his name. He's from the
The
kid from
kid from
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
he is
he's
the truth.
Mm.
he's
He
nice.
is the
But what
truth, bro.
but Washington is I think Washington they're gonna struggle, but maybe just off GP because it's Carson Wentz. I'll root for that loss. But realistically, I'm not counting that as a loss. I can see anywhere between 5-1. I can see 6-0 because I don't trust Dallas this year. But also first game of the year against Dallas. Dallas could be just hype, hot, ready to go. But do we want to lose to Dallas at home? No, we don't.
The
So
So
that
Cardinals are
game is
not.
at
You can't
home.
sleep on the Cardinals, though, bro. The
I
Cardinals are.
I didn't. The Cardinals is kind of where I'm calling possible one of the losses.
Okay.
Mhm.
But it also too, we got to see where it's off the field shit, but we got to see where Kyler Murray's head's at
Yeah.
because that
They
kid
ain't been
he
treating
loves
him very well. Yeah.
No.
allegedly the kid didn't even get out of his rookie deal yet, and he's already making noise. You know what I'm saying? He's already making tons of noise. So
I
we'll see
know
where his head's at that time.
a great landing spot for him. Who's throwing the
Where?
ball in Pittsburgh right now?
Ooh.
With Mike Tomlin.
Ooh. Mike
They
Tomlin would love him.
See?
just
That's what I'm
gotta
talking about.
they just got a decent rookie that they have time to develop. They don't need
Okay.
to go get him just now. I
No,
I
they
called this
don't.
out a week ago.
He
They
may
don't
be
need to
available though. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. If he's available.
could possibly be, and then I am in full agreement with you. Pull the trigger.
Mhm.
Go ahead and pull the
Cause he's
trigger.
like
And then
he's like the new what was it who's the quarterback that was scrambling and throwing touchdowns for Pittsburgh back then?
No, he ain't no
Slash.
Cordell Stewart.
He's actually better than Slash. I
No,
think.
that's what I'm saying. He's a
Yeah.
way better version of Cordell Stewart.
Mhm.
Yes,
At the
yes,
quarterback position, yes, but
yes.
all around on the football field, he ain't out there playing wide receiver. He ain't out
No.
there punting. He ain't out there kicking. That's the type of comparison I was thinking of. Jamal called him his nickname Slash. Like he got called Slash for a fucking reason. That man did a piece of everything on the field. Injury prevented a longer career, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the next half. I don't see this Pittsburgh Steelers as the same. So the Battle of Pennsylvania, we can win that one.
So y'all gonna beat the
Texans,
varsity squad?
alleged. Shout out to our good brother.
Well said.
Seven.
Well said, Jamal.
Alleged. But the Texans,
That's a
ain't
dub.
even worry. Washington up in the air. The Colts. The Colts
Colts
could
got a
possibly
mean
beat
running game,
everybody.
bro.
The Colts have
That's a good squad.
everything. The Colts have a mean everything just right about now. They can beat the entire NFC East if they want to
Mhm.
this year.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, yes.
Green Bay. I see. I'm kind of calling. I'm not trying to call everything a win. Trying to look at things with some level of optimism, some level of realism. Green Bay Packers again. We're looking at Aaron Rodgers, and that's it.
But they traded
If
away
you
their
can,
best wide receiver, bro. And that's why you're saying that, because Devontae
no,
Adams is playing with his best
no.
friend.
I'm
It don't matter.
I'm not even. I wasn't even. When I looked at the offense, I only looked at Aaron Rodgers. I'm not looking
Okay.
at their offense. Their defense, Green Bay's defense has always been suspect.
Mm.
And if Aaron Rodgers, and again, I hate to only mention him, but if he can't will that team to a 14 to 21 point lead, they are beatable, hands
You're
down.
right. You're right.
They're
Tennessee,
always beatable,
Tennessee,
man. But yeah.
Tennessee
So
could be a loss.
mhm.
I already called y'all Giants sweep, so I'm not even going over those. I think we go 1-1 against the Cowboys. We are all beating the Bears this year. Shouts out to JP once again. And then the
Them
Saints
Inks.
team is a little
Yeah, man.
different. It's a little
Mhm.
different. Let's
You
see how
can't
J-Bo
sleep on
does.
that team. You
Let's
can't
see
Yo,
how
sleep
who's
on that
behind
J-Bo
team.
center
does
for
during
them
the
now?
season.
Who's behind
J-Bo,
center? Oh yeah.
Winston.
You know,
Yo,
And you know
not
what?
I
He
mean,
shows flashes of greatness, and then he just shows like a complete dud, which is his inconsistency is the problem.
that's always a
well,
problem. But in
with
his
this
health.
team, it's been
So
different. It's
yeah.
health, most
Yeah.
importantly. With this
Mhm.
team, it's been different. When we think about J-Bo and talking like that, we're thinking back to his Tampa days. He was that. He was exactly what you described in his Tampa time.
You know
He
what
he.
though? What? Go ahead.
No. That was it.
No, you know what though? Since Winston's been a quarterback, Kamara hasn't been getting the touches he's needed to get, which is really a problem because that man
Well,
is a 5'2" player.
also too, we had to look at how they played. Sean Payton played last season. He played Winston and Hillis at the same time.
Yeah,
He had to play both at the same time.
and when Hill is in there, Kamara gets no touches because he's running quarterback draws all day.
If their running game is solid this year, that team could be 11-6. You know, something like that.
That Saints team, absolutely.
Yeah, easy. If their running game is solid, and you don't ask Jabo to win the games for you, and you get him his crab legs every week, you get money.
Also, all about the crab legs.
So
All
you
about the
know,
crab legs. So I mean, I again, the fan in me was talking. I was just reading out the schedule more or less, to be honest with you. Um, I do see us now this season. I do see us as a playoff team, and
I was going to
oh,
ask you.
easy,
it would be
easy.
Yeah,
disappointing if
Yeah.
we don't make the playoffs this year.
yeah.
I'm glad, like looking at this schedule, our AFC North game. I'm glad it's not the Ravens. I'm
We,
glad
The
it's not the
Giants play the
Ravens.
we
Ravens,
got
and
them.
I
We got
don't.
them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how
If they
y'all missed
healthy,
out
that's a
on that
problem.
shit. Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
problem if they healthy. Yeah.
We
So
can't beat the Ravens. We cannot beat the Ravens on no
if
day.
you ask me to put money down, yeah, I favor the Eagles to win the division. I got no faith in the Cowboys. I'm giving the Eagles the benefit of the doubt, and that Hurts's progression from last year is enough to get them 11 wins. They should be, and the Eagles traditionally are a phenomenal regular season team. So
But why are you not giving no faith? I mean, they got Dak. They got good wide receivers. Their defense
you,
is a little sus.
the first thing you said, I have no faith in that. You said they got
Oh,
Dak.
Dak?
Yes. It,
Wow.
it stops right there, brother. It stops right there for me.
Not Dak,
So
and you know the thing about Dak is when Dak is on, like
He's on.
he
he's
can be
money.
very accurate because they call a quick if they call a quick game for him, if they call short passing game for him, he's great. He's great.
He
Deep
warms
ball,
up, and by
forget
the second half, he's killing you.
yeah, deep ball, forget about it. If he's got to run, he is not that black quarterback. Like he
Right.
can run, but he is not that black quarterback.
He's no
But
Randall Cunningham.
in all fairness, he's a beige quarterback, bro. That's in all fairness.
Light
Okay.
They
skinned
do have a
dude.
good running back, though. I mean, come
That's
on.
the key. That's the key. And I don't know where Zeke is. If Zeke is the money man, then you're gonna see a 11-12 win Cowboy season. But
Wait a minute. It's not if Zeke is the money man. It's the Dallas offensive line money for Zeke to get them holes
and
to
who's
run
who's
through.
Dak throwing to now?
CeeDee Lamb.
That's true.
And they got another young dude who's supposed to be fast too. They
Right.
drafted him
They,
too.
they
But
got wide
but
receivers. They got wide
forget,
receivers, bro.
fuck all of that. It's about Ezekiel Elliott. And guess what? And guess what? I hate to break it to y'all. Ezekiel Elliott has been figured out at least 2 or 3 seasons ago. At least
That
two
is
or
my
three
point.
seasons ago.
That was my
Yes.
whole point.
That's
Yes.
where
Yes.
the difference is.
Mm.
Zeke has been figured out. So they're going to have to really create and open up new lane, make lanes. The offensive line is really gonna have to work to put Zeke in position this year because he is not that same bruising running back that he was when he came out.
He's no
But
Marion Barber.
Marion Barber was barely that dude too, though. Marion
He was a
Barber was
bruiser though, man.
the
No,
He was a
Marion
yeah,
bruiser.
Barber punished you, though,
He
bro.
was a
but
bruiser.
Marion Barber was the barbarian for maybe 2 seasons
True.
until he got figured out. Just like how I mentioned with Brandon Jacobs. Brandon Jacobs was that dude for a few seasons until he got figured out.
Well, he
Most of
got
those
figured out.
big,
Guys, finish,
most
brother.
of those
My bad.
most of those big bruising running backs, as soon as you start punching them back in the mouth, it's a wrap for them because now it's what can I do next? Like we mentioned with what's the name with as I just mentioned your Giants running back that I just mentioned. Fucking
Jacobs.
Jacobs.
yeah, Brandon Jacobs.
Ja-
That's what I'm thinking of. Just like I mentioned Brandon Jacobs, right? Once he got figured out in the interior and started get punching him out, punching him out, punching him out. He
So
turned it to twinkle toes and started to go outside. Failed. You know what
so
I'm
he's no Marshawn
saying?
Lynch where he just run through your face a few times. He said, I just run through their face.
That's it. But and so backs like that, Zeke, the way they're gonna have to work with Zeke, how they tried early is they're gonna have to get him open on the outside. Give him open running room, and that man goes off. And I hated the fact that he was an Ohio State Buckeye because I really like that kid's game. I really do. But I can't
Fuck
root
Ohio
for a
State, bro.
Buckeye or I can't root for a Buckeye or a Cowboy ever in my life.
No, I'm a
Ever.
Michigan fan. So,
You know what I'm saying?
no, but I definitely get you to touch on Brandon Jacobs. In all fairness with Brandon Jacobs, it wasn't so much he got figured out. It's when he had to be the man. He wasn't that good.
That was
When
it.
he was with when Ahmad Bradshaw was killing you, and then they can switch up the pace on you. That's when he was good.
And
But
the
when he
Thunder
had
and
to be
lightning,
the every
baby.
down back, yeah,
Thunder
he
and
had to be the
lightning,
every
baby.
down back. Nah,
And the
too busy
Cowboys
dancing.
kind of have that right now. I forgot the other back's name, but the other back, I would have to look
Oh,
it
the
up. I'm
little
not
guy.
typing it.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
he's
He
nice.
was
you're
He's
right.
nice.
He
He's
was
nice.
getting off. He was getting off more than Zeke did last season. past couple
Yes, he
seasons.
was.
They're gonna need
Shout
that
out
kind of balance.
to the Giants. We drafted that rookie. He's clearly going to be the number 2 behind Saquon. And
Oh, you think so?
kid is nice. Yeah, watch the rookie camp footage. Yeah, he's nice.
I will. I would definitely will.
And Dan,
Well,
you could probably speak more to the
waste it.
Eagles draft picks than we can. And straight
See,
out, I'll hand down say
I
the
have my
Eagles got an A+ draft. It had an
I,
A+ draft. I think the Eagles, Giants, and Jets all had A+ drafts.
But the Eagles should
Uh,
come out of the East as the division
that
champion.
100%. Yeah, Eagles. If I had to put
The
money in
wild
it,
card is a toss up,
Eagles.
but the
The
Eagles
wild
should
card is a
come out.
toss up
Right. The wild card is a toss
because
up, but the Eagles are
Fam, the
built for right now.
Giants can go 10-7, or Giants can go, you know,
8-8 or
four
eight and
four and
eight and 9.
13, bro. It depends. If Dable's worth his salt, I like the moves they made. We finally have some intelligence at GM, which I'll give Sean his credit. They made some great draft picks. Now it's about Dable, and if his
I
offensive
have
system works,
I have faith in Dable because David Jones is not too far removed from what he had
that's
in Buffalo.
the entire point is he's got a mobile running quarterback, and he likes those little gadget receivers, and he's got 2 now with Wandale and with
Yes,
Kadarius.
because who's
So
the white dude on the Buffalo Bills that was getting all those receptions? I can't
can't
remember
remember
his name.
Sam's name, but any actually, fuck the bullshit. Hands down, anything is an upgrade to Jason Garrett, bro. you know,
I didn't like that hire from the
yeah.
jump, but
We had
yes,
Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett was running like high school offenses from '94 through '96, man, and that's what we was putting on the field.
he thought
So,
Herschel Walker was back there. That's what he thought.
dog, it's like Canarsie High could have beat the Giants, bro. Straight up.
You make my stomach hurt, bro.
We was running them type of offenses, man. So, but no,
It was
but yeah,
very
this
predictable. It was very predictable, and that's my problem with that. It was like you defenses knew what the Giants were running before the Giants even ran their offense. Like it was just sad. It was just sad. And you're like, why didn't you throw any of these tight ends you got? Why aren't you, at least throwing some crossing plays or something like that? But it was just so predictable.
if we're gonna, this is the Eagles' division to win.
Yes.
Washington is the most consistent team in the division right now. So if we're gonna win, if we're gonna get into the playoffs on a wild card, we're gonna be competing with Washington. It would not surprise me if Washington won the division again. I think the Eagles are probably the most talented team in division. I like their coach. I like the hire when they got it before anybody. I think Frank Reich's an incredible coach and an incredible
Yeah.
mentor. So when they hired Sirianni, I know a lot of Eagles Nation was down on that. I said, watch, y'all gonna be surprised by this dude.
Dude
So
is nice. Dude is
he's
nice.
nice. He knows what he's doing, man. So this to me, it would not surprise me if the Eagles went like 11-6 or something like that, or whatever, and ran away with the division. But again, it hinges on Jalen Hurts' progression.
Right.
They
But
got
this
some
is the
they
year to
got
do it
some
with the week
ridiculous weapons
schedule.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some,
Yeah.
that steal they got from Tennessee in the offseason. I thought was phenomenal.
Ooh, to go with
Phenomenal move.
Devontae Smith?
Now
Wow.
Jalen Hurts got to hit them though. You got to get the ball to him, and that's the key.
Can he throw the long ball?
He can't. He's better than Tua. I think Tyreek Hill's gonna be out of Miami in 1 year. I feel bad for Tyreek Hill, bro. Tyreek Hill gonna be requesting a trade 3 months into the season because But
He
I
turned
think
the
the
Jets
Eagles.
down. He said he wasn't going to go to the Jets. So,
Can you blame him though?
nope. Nope.
You know, but to in complete transparency, the Eagles should win this division. I do think we're gonna split with them though, because we split with the last coach we had, we split with them, and we had no business winning them games.
No business. You're
we
right.
had no business. So I think it's another split.
Well,
Yeah.
Y'all heard it here first from the Giants fans. I don't need to say anymore. Real quick though, before we get on to while we're here in Ghostface Killer Day,
Yes.
I gotta show this TikTok that had me fucking weak. This shit had me fucking beyond
Oh,
weak.
yo, that was ridiculous. That little man.
Y'all, this kid, like most people, when they all drugged up and shit in the hospital, and man, just you know what? I'm not even gonna give no lead in. Just listen.
Just like, give me that damn phone. Like, who the fuck is your bro? Like, give me that damn phone over here. Here you go, go my fucking room and go to sleep. Oh, okay. Sometimes, bro, I love her. That's my mama. Yeah. That was her ass be tripping, bro. Bullshit.
Carlos.
I don't know. I know your mom. She's pretty cool.
Where the fuck she at?
You know what? She's actually here. Do you know that?
Where? What the hell?
Here, look. This hand is touching mommy right now.
No, you was touching me.
I am touching you right here, but I'm not going to touch you. That's mom touching you.
Fuck touching me.
Your mom.
What the hell you got going on?
Hey.
Hey, bro, where the fuck my grandma at?
I don't know where grandma's at, but I'm at your mom.
Fuck everybody up in this bitch.
Hey. Hey.
That's your mom.
Relax.
Mom today.
I need a fucking.
Your man's been hanging around the wrong people, bro.
Word. This is that back in the bus talk we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Heavy.
It's
not good.
Yo, where the fuck is my mom at?
I'm right here. Hey, lay down.
Tall Tom lady. You my favorite, bro.
I love you.
Love you, man. My favorite. I love you, man.
I love you too. I got your back.
And that photographer, he's a fucking goat.
He said you the fucking goat.
He cold as hell. I ain't a fucking cat.
What you talking about the cranberry juice?
Oh, Tom. I didn't even give me something to fuck to eat. I
Hey.
don't even bitch.
Carlos.
Well, she got a lot of medicine on board right now.
I feel like I hear my fucking mom.
When
See her right
I know. So you can hear her, but you can't see her. She's sitting next to you.
I was watching this yesterday, like
Sit
the
next to me.
screams
I'm over
that I
here.
let
Yes,
out,
I did. Look over here.
I was literally in
Ready?
tears.
Mommy's sitting right over there.
Who the fuck is mommy?
Hey. What's up?
Hell yeah, we'll go to summer, nigga.
All right, so no more cussing.
The fuck is you talking about?
What I just said. You don't
Your
go to
man's been hanging around the wrong people.
She be fucking tripping. Cause she told me not to say no curse words since I was a little kid. And I was like, fuck that bullshit she's talking about.
Yo.
Doctor baby.
Yeah, what's going on?
Your man speaking his truth.
You alright?
I'm just hanging out.
I
With
said, Doctor Lady,
You
what's
alright?
good?
you. Yeah, I'm already okay.
Hey, fuck 12.
That's right.
I think you're pretty cool, so I just wanted to hang out with you and make sure you're okay.
Think you cool?
Nobody knew who he's talking about in that video.
Oh, thank you.
He said, yeah, that's right. She said, yeah, that's right.
I can't even see nothing, bro. Like, everything is as blurry as a motherfucker. I'm like, damn.
That's medicine for you, huh?
Hey, this fucking medicine out of me. This shit got me tripping, bro.
That's right.
Don't hear me, cuss me the fuck out and take my phone. I'm tired of her taking my phone.
Careful with this. We had to kind of tape it because you were getting a little tangled up.
No fuck, I wasn't.
Oh,
Watch your shit off and this shit hurt.
Watch your mouth.
Wait till the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to. I just
Yo,
had
my
to
mom
share
would have killed me. My mom would have killed me if I spoke that way, drugged up or not,
Let me
bro.
tell you something, TJ. Anesthesia is the devil. About 6 years ago, 6-7 years ago, I had a procedure done where they had to look at the back of my heart. It's called a TEE. And my mom's drove me there, right?
Hmm.
I don't even remember taking anesthesia. And Mom Dukes told me what I was saying to the girl, to the
Yeah.
woman that was doing everything. I was telling her thick, telling her my brother likes thick girls. She'd be good for my brother.
At least you
I was
didn't
like,
say it
yeah.
was for you, bro. At least you
I
didn't
was
say
like,
it
yeah,
was for you.
my brother's single. You nice and thick, and you from the Middle East. Ooh, he gonna like you. This is what my mom's, bro. This is what my mom's, fam. Anesthesia is the devil.
The one
Yo, you
time
speak
I
the
was put
truth.
under, I can't even remember any of it. I remember half a countdown,
That's
and then
it.
I woke up, and that's it.
Hmm.
I
That's it.
wasn't talking. I was knocked out in the room, and then when I woke up, it was just pain.
The
Same.
Yeah, I'm
only
glad I never been there, but I
the
want to
only
be
time
there
I
one time.
the only time I was under when I dislocated my elbow. And
Mm,
once they popped that shit into place, because they gave me Demerol, and let me tell you,
mm,
that's an amazing drug, bro.
bro, it's crazy. The only
Bro,
thing I
he
remember is my mother apologizing to everybody in the room.
so the doctor popped my elbow back and I was like, yeah, this shit feels great. Let's go. They was like, no, we gotta put it in the cast. I was like, no, my shit feels fine, bro. I'm good. Let's go.
Ready
I
for
was
the
like, where
world.
can I get some more of this? Because this shit feels amazing. And my mom was like, TJ, they're gonna think you're a drug addict. And I was just like, well, so be it, because this shit feels this shit
Bro,
feels good.
this shit works. works works as designed, bro.
I was a
Real.
spokesperson for Demerol for like the last 3 years when I dislocated my elbow. Yeah.
I'm just afraid of the shit I was talking to my moms didn't tell me about.
At least you said it was your brother, because if you'd have said it for yourself and you married, bro, that'd have been a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, bro.
Shout out to you looking out for your brother though, bro. You know what
Hey
I'm
man,
saying?
he was recently divorced. I know his type. You know what I mean? So
Middle Eastern thick, yeah, that's what he likes.
that was his
Just
move.
just just means we all looking the same way. We all be looking. We don't have to touch. We look.
Man,
We look.
anesthesia is the devil. I repeat. I repeat.
Facts,
But
facts.
what we're here for is May 9th has now been declared Ghostface Killer Day in New York City. Mayor Adams came through when Ghostface opened up his new coffee shop out here on Staten Island. I happen to pass by it every day when I drive. If I drive the direction I do to go to work, I go right by the corner it's at, but it's closed at the time that we're driving through because we're driving
Hmm.
through at like 5:45, 6 o'clock. The shit ain't open. But yeah, big ups to him, man. And he's in a lot of people's opinions in the Wu-Tang Clan sphere of things. He's a lot of people's number ones,
Mm,
if not a lot of people's top threes.
Hmm.
For
definitely
me,
top three.
he's like for me, he's around. I think he's number four
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
because it's well, no, he's number three for me because it's Jizza, Deck, then Ghostface, and then after that it's a free for all. Like I don't have to even keep going. Like Jizza, Deck, Ghostface, and probably Meth. Then
I won't argue with that
yeah, I'm
top
not. You
four.
know what? I'm not
Nope,
even gonna do that.
Yeah,
I'm not even
nope,
gonna go. I'm not even gonna
no,
go
I
there
won't
with that
nope,
argue.
because I'll have to
nope,
rethink that
I'm biased.
nope.
My favorite
because
Jiz is the most talented, but Deck is my favorite, so I'm biased.
yeah,
Well, I,
Deck
I would have
is
had
yeah.
Deck as my number one and Ghostface as my number
Yeah,
two and Chiz is three. But I mean, we just shuffling the board at that point. You know what
Pretty
I'm saying?
pretty much, and we could be here at all time. I mean, there's days where hate him because most people hate on him. You could look at you God as all right. I'm gonna take him over a bunch of different people. Now, out of the clan, different story. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm putting Capadonna up pretty high. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting Dirty high as a rapper. As a personality, he might have been the number one personality in the whole crew. But as a rapper,
Where
he
you put
wasn't the first.
Raekwon at? Where do you put Ray at?
Raekwon is in the middle to lower than I put Master Killer over Ray if we're
Mm,
ooh,
talking about
I
raps.
put
mm.
Now,
You got over Master Killer, bro.
no way,
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
no way,
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, I
go
got
man.
I got you got down at the bottom, bro.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
like, and that's just out of the clan. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because
Right. No,
again,
we're just
I'll
speaking
take
Wu Tang.
yeah, because I'll take Master Killer over a bunch of people, but that's just me. A lot of people won't say the same. I'll tell you that now. But
no, he evolved though. He evolved and even got better. I give
man,
him that
listen,
part.
go
Yeah,
want to sleep on Master Killer. Go listen to his albums. Start at No Set Date, and you be like, I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Start
I
at
take your
No
word
Set
for it.
Date, and you be like, I'm sorry. You'd be like, I'm sorry. But yeah, we're not here to really actually compile a who's our top or whatever to the woo. But that my top three has been pretty solid for decades now. But this is all about Ghostface, man. One of the best MCs pretty much in the world. Like
Hmm.
obviously we first heard him on the Enter the 36 Chambers, then on the Only Built for Cuban Links. Like he was almost at times like the show stealer on
Oof.
that album. You
Hell
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? If we were rating
Mm.
first albums too, that's not my first album, by the way. Only Built for Cuban Links. I know it's a lot of people's. It's not mine personally. It's up there, but it's not mine. But yeah, man. I mean, there's not much bad you could say about Ghostface. To me personally, he is the greatest storyteller in rap. I
Wow.
personally I personally believe he surpassed Slick Rick years ago because when you mention Slick Rick, one, it triggers off a certain set of old heads. And then two, when you think about Slick Rick and said old heads, they only recall two or three songs, which were his biggest joints. They don't really go past his biggest joints. But when you look about Ghostface, you think about the Wizard of Poetry album, which still to this day I haven't heard in full, surprisingly. I'm
No.
No,
going to eventually. I just I haven't sat with it, just me
it's not
personally
his
yet.
best work though. It's not his best work, Dan.
But it's a story. And
Yes.
then
Iron
when you
Man
and
and
then when you
fish scales, bro.
and then
Yeah.
when you get into just a lot of the joints that he did, like one of the reasons why I put him as as probably the top storytellers is is going to be said in my top 5 of his favorite songs, and I had to make it tough on us. First
Dan,
solo albums
this was
only,
so hard. This was so hard, Dan.
because I had to go off of solo albums only because they're technically his songs. His
His
verses and other joints and stuff, his features and shit, he kills everything he touches.
even his verse on the new Kendrick Lamar album was fire.
I haven't heard yet. Y'all seen on Facebook why I'm waiting. I'm waiting till y'all idiots die down the hype,
Yeah,
and then I'll dive in myself.
right.
So his verse on verbal intercourse is severely underrated.
Ooh,
His
well
verse on
said.
because verbal intercourse is just such an apex predator type of track. Number one, with Nas and Ray, so he kind of gets lost, but he went off on that shit.
He did.
He went to fuck off.
As always. But to start off the top fives, I had to go with this one because I remember the interview from MTV when he said, "Yo, I can't believe I made niggas cry." And I'm talking about big niggas with muscles. I made them cry, and that was all that I got is
I got
you.
his you. Has to
I
be.
Hmm.
I picked that. I mean, there's so many other joints that I could have picked over this one, but I had to pick this one because of its impact in that time and that thought of he made big niggas with muscles cry. That quote is historic. It's funny, but that's why it's number 5 for me.
Dan, that song related to a lot of people, bro. That song related to a lot of people. He spoke to a
What do you
lot of
say?
people in
Seven
the
in the morning,
projects.
plucking roaches out the cereal box.
Yeah,
We
you know what I'm
shared the same
saying? Like
spoon watching Saturday cartoons.
he spoke
Sugar
to a
water was our
lot of people.
yeah.
That
Sugar
shit was
water
good.
was
Yeah.
our thing. Every meal was no frills. For the summer, free lunch held us down like steel. See, now I
Come
never
on,
did
man.
the free lunch thing at school. We used to do
I
sugar
did.
water just cause fucking we wasn't plucking roaches out of cereal boxes because I would have threw the whole shit out. We never had those problems growing up, fortunately, because others have. And others really I couldn't sleep with John. John, he used to pee the bed.
Peter Bed,
We
yes.
we all peed the bed, people. Some of us
Hmm.
still do because of old bladders, shorter bladders, but we all peed the bed. You know what I'm saying? Like the relatability, even if you wasn't a project kid or a project baby or went through, some people wasn't in the projects and went through the same said struggles. It's just too relatable. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. My number 5 was off his Lost Tapes album. It's Buckingham Palace, and he sets that shit off
Yeah.
something wicked, something wicked, bro. Like, I mean, like you said, storyteller. He just puts you in the moment of every rap like anything he does. He puts you in the moment. He captures your essence, and you're there riding with him. You're there riding with him,
Hmm.
and when he has other people on the track, like he had King Crooked, and Meth and somebody else, but he's going to show out. He's going to show the fuck out on any song he does, whether it's on his album, whether he's being featured or whatever. You're not going to get a whack verse from Ghost at any time when he's got other MCs on there. And that was my number 5.
TJ, that was actually my number 5. So,
Really?
and yes, sir. And I thought I was rare in that, but he goes hard in the paint on anything, especially when he's doing a collab with other MCs, and it
Yes.
kind of brings the best out of him. And so, um, that particular song was my number 5.
Nice. I'm glad we're on the same page with that one. I'm shocked.
Hmm.
Number 4. This is one of the reasons that made me start to turn and say, this is why this guy is one of, if not the best storyteller. And then he's just gotten better with time as storytelling raps. The Forest. Off of
Ooh.
Mm,
now
Ooh.
possibly
mm, mm,
Ooh.
mm.
Ooh.
this joint right here, like when Raekwon opened it up with the little nursery rhyme type joint, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
he literally went into like a land of like mushrooms, like you've taken them and you're seeing giant mushrooms with toads talking to you, freaking, Alice in Wonderland. Like he took you to that level
Your man
in rap.
incorporated old school cartoons. Droopy the dog. Like, yo,
Dog, it's throwback. It's a ride to your childhood, man.
yes. And
Hmm.
the cartoons he was naming as he was going through the shit, it was like bananas. Bananas.
Yep. So that's why that was my number 4, and those were just for impact reasons. You know what I'm saying? Impact reasons. But my next 3 was just hard ass records. My number 3, when I get to it, TJ, is there's a connection I have with it. But yeah.
Okay. My number 4 was tough because I was choosing this between this and another, which would be my number 3. But my number 4 is The Champ. And that's on the Fish Scale album. And your man is just talking about he is the best MC of all time. Like the way he structures it from beginning to end, it's like he drags you through a whole boxing match and how he's just working over his opponents with his metaphors and his lyrics. The shit is
Hmm.
phenomenal. He's like, "You're the champ. You're the best." He's got the Rocky joint playing in the background with like
Hmm.
not Customato, but the guy who played in Rocky's Corner. And that's just going throughout the whole song. And the beat is just
Oh, Mickey, yeah.
bananas.
Hmm.
Bananas. Bananas. And Ghost just does what Ghost does. He's going to go all the way in 1000%. He's giving you.
Mm.
He left nothing on the table on that song.
No, sir.
Go ahead, Jamal. What you got for your number
My
4?
number 4 is MGM with him and Ray,
Ooh,
and
Hold
it's
on,
another.
you cheated because you took that off the Wu Tang Forever album, not
It's
his
got to be
solo album.
solo.
It was supposed to be. I'll let you
I'll
talk
allow it.
about it. Go
I'll allow
ahead.
it.
But we'll let it
I'm
slide.
okay.
But
I guess I'm
just
but MGM, he
Puffy and
just
the
dominated.
MGM cooked up, psych.
Yeah, and it's another way with Ghostface where he has a unique ability to not only paint a picture for you, but throw in things to make you feel like you were there. Just little
Yes.
things, whether how he describes what they was wearing, what they had to eat, just crazy shit. You know what I mean? Plus, plus tell a story. You know what I mean? And just describe the atmosphere. To me, he stole that song. That was his song. Even though Ray
You know
got
what
off
made
on
me
that, you know.
song feel like that was the Hilton when he's
Yeah.
talking about he was at the fight. Him and Ray was at the fight, and Mitch Green was sitting there on the sidelines. There, that shit was bananas. But
No,
I
That's
just
couldn't put that.
that
I
was
couldn't
the
put that in my top
MGM though.
five.
that was the MGM. That's the
That was the
MGM.
MGM.
Oh, that is
The
the MGM.
MGM,
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
yeah.
And it's
MGM.
like,
He like Jamal said, they put you as if you was there next to them watching that Tyson fight.
They even had dudes walking in. They was even talking about dudes
yeah.
walking into to the arena
It's
and
like
shit.
it's crazy because his lyrics is almost like they're dipped in attention deficit disorder because he's taking you, he's taking you one way and then he's
That was
making you look over
perfect.
there. You
That's
know,
perfect. That's
and then,
perfect.
and it's like yo, okay, he paints a picture. Fam is like J.R.R. Tolkien, if you ever read one of his books, dude, like Lord of the Rings. It's like there's so much description before he gets back to the main story. It's like, okay, I'm there. You know what I mean?
But that's
So,
how you pull them in, though. But that's how
yes, sir.
you do that to pull them in. That's what the best do when it
That's what
comes
his
to
gift
this
is, man.
wrestling,
Yeah,
whatever. Is
Yes.
you got to find that way to draw them in, and he puts you like, yeah, I can't afford to be here, but I feel like I'm right there for real. But my number three, it goes back to when I had my first car, and I always said that this song had to be the first song that I played when I got my first car, and that is Daytona 500. The
Ah,
speed.
damn. That's my
yeah.
three, bro.
Okay,
That's
go
my
ahead. No,
three,
go
bro.
ahead.
So we all got number three
Yeah,
at
it's
number three.
Daytona. Yeah.
Perfect. So we all
Mhm,
got number three. So
mhm, mhm,
the
mhm,
Speed
mhm,
Racer
mhm.
video took it over the top for me.
Yes.
The
And then
Speed
we're on the
Racer
same page with
video,
the love for Speed Racer. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Your
Freaking
man said he was pissing out a window on turnpikes, B.
yeah. Come on,
this
bro.
Come
the
on, bro.
then you
As men,
have
we know what that means. You know what I'm saying?
but
Like,
to kick this
Yeah.
out to kick this song off though, keeping it 1,000% Staten Island. Shout outs to Mariners Harbor. Shout outs to the harbor and having the Force
Force
MDs. We
MDs.
are the GODs. I think that was Jesse on that on. I think it was Jesse. I don't remember exactly, but to have the Force MDs open up your joint, amazing.
Hard.
Then they
Hard.
get into that that break, just the original song too. I go back and just
Son, that's Nautilus right there. That's all
yeah,
Nautilus. That's Bob James, bro.
yeah.
Mhm,
Like where do you go wrong with a Bob James break? You don't. You
mhm.
don't. And this is
They
one of those
captured the
records that
essence of that song. They captured the essence of that song.
and this is one of those records that like it started the path for me of like sample digging too. Like it didn't start it, but we used to play Name That Sample in my boy Flip's basement back when we used to practice because he was the first one with 1200s.
Yeah.
And it, this was one of them joints. And you go get the Nautilus record. You look at that fire ass album cover on the Nautilus record, but then you go back to this and Iron Man album as a whole has a connection with me that a lot of albums don't, which I even introduced my daughter to because this album was an album that I used to play each and every track meet I competed
That's
to
right.
going into right before I threw. And like this was my real hype music all the time. That's why it's tough that it is weird that I don't pick this as my number one solo member Woo album, but it's the album that I have the most connection with, which is it's crazy. And Daytona 500 is a part of that history. So since that we all had it, TJ, you go with number two.
My number two is Apollo Kids, bro. That song, that beat is bananas. Bananas. You see Ghost at his finest. And that's off the Supreme Clientele album. And that album is just
Bananas,
I don't
bro.
know how people don't have that as a classic album. That's one of the top 10, 15 albums of all time, in my opinion. I mean, Ghost goes in heavy on that album, and the way he sets it off for the Apollo Kids is phenomenal.
Hmm.
Phenomenal.
And that album, I will say, as a fan, don't go into it trying to make sense of it. Just absorb it.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
if you go sit down and listen and read the lyrics along, if you don't know them by memory by now, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck was this dude saying?" And I'm
Hmm.
just keeping it 1,000 because to me, yes, that's my favorite number one. Just like most of the world, Supreme Clientele is the number one from Ghostface to me. But when you listen to these lyrics, it's like, what is this nigga saying? As my boy used to call it back in the day, yo, it was dusthead rap. He called it dusthead rap, but it was just saying shit, rapping, just to sound dope,
Yep.
just to make it sound fly, and
It
that's
didn't
what it
just
was.
sound
And I
dope.
believe
It
he
did sound dope.
and I believe he even mentioned it in a video, like I mean, in an interview, like that album was just the album to just I'm just going in.
Yeah.
Nothing needed to make sense. I'm just going in, and that's exactly what the fuck that album accomplished perfectly.
Hmm.
But I feel
No
you on
doubt.
Apollo Kids #2. Kind of stole some of my shine because I said,
That's
"Go
all
ahead,
good.
Jamal. You're #2."
My number two is Kilo off the Fish Scale album with
Ooh.
Ghostface and Jay Dilla, which is a match made in heaven. And I wish they could have done a whole album together. And
Ooh.
outside of RZA, the beats that Jay Dilla did sound like for Ghostface's two albums. He embodied RZA for those albums. Ghostface made one of the most non-RZA sounding beats that I've ever heard in my life, and the way that Ghost riffs on top of it is just incredible, bro. My friend.
Kilo is a cost
So
to grab if you can measure.
Kilo was just wild, just Ghostface just going wild with it, and to piggyback off of what Dan said, man, just absorb it. Just as just it's just Ghostface with no boundaries and no borders, just doing him.
He spazzes, yo. He spazzes. What's your number one, Dan?
My bad. My #2, because I didn't give it. I gave it to you. I'm giving a quick snippet. Hopefully they don't
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shaky Dog was my #2.
Yo,
The
Shaky
story
Dog.
that this the story that he went off on with this one was again masterful storytelling. I gave y'all a
Hmm.
quick snippet of the beat. Hopefully we don't get copyright stricken for it, but it was this was just a perfect song. From the beat to the lyrics to the story, every piece of it was just perfect. And
You know what
that
else's
was my
song is
number
dope
two.
on that album? Is Yolanda's House, which is crazy on that song.
Oh,
Like
that shit is
Yep.
wild, bro.
that shit is wild,
That
bro.
shit's wild. Yeah.
But the whole Fish Scale album though was just flames. But
Hmm.
my #1 was TJ's #2 was Apollo Kids. When that
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Talk that shit.
that's right, motherfucker. Like y'all see that? You see that? All our fake niggas coming up in the joint, right? Stealing my light, huh? Watch me, Duke. Watch me. Like that. When if you was able to wear out a CD, like that, this CD got wore the fuck out by this joint
Man.
right here. Just that instrumental. That
Yes, sir.
instrumental made niggas want to rap that shouldn't be rapping. Period. I didn't rap, but that made me
Mm.
want to rap. And then too, I think I made my connection with it because there's always another layer. I think I made a beat juggle with that too, and I used to always bring it back, go back and forth on the vinyl with it, playing with it. Like, yeah, it was hard not to pick Apollo Kids #1. Even though to be very fair and honest with y'all, I could have picked the top 5 just off the Iron Man album alone. And I
It's off
say it
that,
again, though
Yeah.
I think
without a doubt.
just off of Iron Man alone, because I have the most connection with it, even though it's not my #1 from him. I could have picked a 5 off of Cam A, not and leave, and I can leave Ice Cream out. I don't have to put
All
Ice
right.
Cream in the top 5, not even in the top 10 on any Ghostface. I don't have to. I don't have to put none of the. Really, don't have to put any of the singles, even though I put 3 singles in there. But you know what I'm saying? You don't have to put any singles from Ghostface in your top 5, and you're gonna have a phenomenal 5. But go ahead with number 1, y'all.
My number one is Mighty Healthy off the Supreme Clientele album.
Respect
And
that shit.
that's the joint where he's like, you goddamn right, I fuck fans. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
your man, your man made it absolutely clear how he was getting down. Yo, the verses he dropped on that shit was Jesus Christ. That beat alone. If you give Ghostface a halfway decent beat, he's gonna spaz on that shit. Period. That's what he does. And that Mighty Healthy beat, Jesus Christ.
That's the
And
beautiful thing about Ghostface, man. Is like you don't get any, when he raps like he knows it. There's no sense of cap in anything he does. It's
he
like he
doesn't
lives it.
shortchange you. He does not shortchange you. He does not shortchange you at all.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yep.
All right,
So
so my number one is kind of off, but it's off the Iron Man album, and Ghostface ain't even on the track. It's Assassination Day.
oh, you know what? I thought about that. I thought about that. I was like, I can't
Mainly
do it.
because Iron Man is one of my favorite albums of all time. That's like 5 mics in the source. That's 6 mics for me. And that track was so dope because it let everybody get off. And to circle back to Master Killer, that's when I began to understand Master Killer was off that track. I was like, okay, this dude is a god. What he's doing. But Assassination Day is one of those tracks that I played every day before I went to class when I was at college around. And
Wow.
that's that's probably my favorite album, my favorite track of all his albums. The beat, just how everybody who was on Assassination Day got off,
Yeah.
and Ghost was so dope. He said, "This is on my album. I ain't even gonna be on this motherfucker." You know what I mean? And put it out there. So that's my number one.
That's fucking crazy and insane in some respects that your number 1 is a song that he ain't even on. That feels almost disrespectful too, but I get it because of your connection.
That's my homage to the brother, man. Yo, dog. That's my favorite Ghost album is Iron Man because that was his first one. Although Supreme Clientele and Fish Scale is dope. My biggest connection is with Iron Man.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Yeah, but
I mean, his
you know
catalog
what?
is so. What did he got? Like 14
Try
albums?
It's strong though. It's too. It's what? Yeah.
I mean, you could. I mean, my honorable mentions like the Ghost is back, where he's rhyming over the Know the Ledge beat. Cam A. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got so many bangers. It's ridiculous.
To
It's
reduce it to
ridiculous.
5 is so difficult. And
It's disrespectful.
ask me on another day, and my top 5 from Ghost is different.
It'd be completely different.
it,
You know what I mean?
it could be like Cam A was one of those that yeah. That was one of them joints that I looked as soon as I looked up the playlist of that album. That was the first song I looked at. It's the second song on the album, but that was the because that was the best fucking I ever had. Oh, that's because you've been dealing with the ace. Fun fact: I made when we used to make mixtapes back in the day in my boy's basement. I named the mixtape "Dealing with the Ace"
Mm.
because of that sample from that movie, but off of that album. I
Son,
made a mixtape called "Dealing with the Ace."
his skits are legendary. I leave trademarks around your fucking eye. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Imagine a kid. Yo, that album there, just like it introduced me more to the world of black exploitation films. Like
yes.
that made me go find the Education of Sonny Carson, which I did not watch until the early 2000s because somebody I knew actually had a DVD and was like, "Here's a copy." Wow. And I watched that like maybe 2001 or two or so for the first time. I love that movie ever since. What was it? Was it JD's Revenge? Was the one
Oh,
with here
JD's Revenge is
and when you
ridiculous.
was that where they hit? That's because you was dealing with the ace line came from, and then it goes, and then when you go on further with the song, he's like, here's $2. Here's $2. Get some dish powder for your pussy. Like when you actually watch the movie, like and hear that shit, it's you, and his music, especially thinking that album too, or just the style with the storytelling and like it puts you in the setting of a black exploitation film, but
Yeah.
new age in some ways by way of like drug trade, drug dealing. But his drug dealing wasn't like the Griselda drug dealing. It wasn't like the Pusha
No.
T
His
coke
shit was
dealing. Like
survival.
like
Yeah.
it was survival, but it was more movie. Like it was
Son,
more you can write a movie around this shit.
his storytelling, like if you heard "Whip Me with a Strap," talking about getting beaten with a belt, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like that shit is phenomenal, bro. He even had the
Yeah,
hesitation cry. He was like, you know what I'm
dog,
saying? Like
dog.
that. His other joint where he talked about he blew his man's face off in the deli because some dude slapped his chick and he got his brains. He's like, I'm picking off brains off my Padres cap. Come on,
Hmm.
bro. Like, where are you getting that description from?
That's why, to me, like his greatest song ever, and I'm Dan. I know you still got to drop your number one. Is All That I
I
Got,
dropped
because
I dropped my
oh,
number
you dropped
one,
your,
which was
you dropped it?
Apollo
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah,
It's just
Apollo Kids.
all that I got is you, man. It puts you there because even if you don't can't relate to all of it, if you grew up in New York in the 80s and 90s, you related to most of it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
reminded you saw it. That picture
Even
was so vivid, you lived it.
even when he was on his Apollo album when he was
Hmm.
rhyming about in the park with Black Thought.
Come
You
on,
know what I'm
man.
saying? Like he's talking about the old park jams and out there in the middle of the night with the speakers plugged into the light pole and shit like that. Yo, he captures the essence of everything, man.
Him and Big are my two favorite storytellers, and I just give the edge to him because he's had a big because Big wasn't around long enough. That's it.
Right,
But
right.
as far as my two favorite storytellers, it's him and Big. I can listen to any one of their songs, and no matter what the beat is, and get some escapism into what they're talking about.
Yeah.
He definitely
And
puts you there.
because it all felt real.
Mhm.
Whether it was story or not, whether it was, whether it was fictional, but if it all felt like every piece of whatever he talked about actually happened. Like we said with the
Yep.
MGM, it felt like we were sitting there watching the Tyson fight with him. You know what I'm
Even
saying?
Run was a huge song for him.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
and Run. See, my only slight beef with Run is there's no beef really. I like the first one better. I like the Capadonna version better. His
Okay.
Ghost verse on there was phenomenal, but I always go to Capadonna's first all the time. It's without fail. It's just like when listening to the Alchemist beat, we gonna make it.
We gonna make it. Yeah.
I always go I always go to Raz Kaz's first over
Ooh,
Rascals
over
definitely killed
uh,
that
yeah,
beat.
yeah.
he had the beat first. Go look up that story. It's part of I think why he still got beef with
Dan actually
Alchemist.
spoke
But
to Rascals about that, and he
he
told me the
had
whole story
yeah,
about it.
yeah, he had the beat first. But it's shit like that is like I think about the first one when you mentioned Run. Like, yeah, I gotta go Capadonna's Run first. But it's still dope. Like what they did with it was just added on to the story, took it to another level. You know what I'm saying? Made it even better. But that's it. I'm tired of this connection acting funky. Hopefully the audio comes out good, y'all. You know what to do.
Yo, shout out to everybody in the chat today. Yo, this was another dope show, Dan. I'm sorry I came in late, but I mean, GFK Day, Ghostface. You're talking about one of the legendary members of hip hop. Fuck the Philadelphia 76ers and a second round Kings ass. And that's all I got.
No,
So that's why I was gonna say you didn't come late. You came right on time because I was trying to purposely set it up to where we talked about the Sixers when you came on.
Thank you.
that's what's up. Yo, shout out TJ and Dan. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Another dope show for real. This was a dope topic. You know, shout out to Ghostface Killer. I could do 2, 3 whole shows just on Ghostface Killer. Easy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Um, looking forward to these game sevens. Looking forward to this warmer weather coming, staying with us. You know, and just shout out to everybody tuning in every week watching the shows.
We're
Word up.
definitely excited about this warmer weather, but I'm not excited about this big ass spider I'm watching crawl up the railing on my steps here. But that's my least favorite part about the summertime. I'm 6
The
foot three
bugs.
35, 36, and I hate fucking spiders. So with that being said, peace. Hit that QR code. We'll see y'all next week. Oh wait, next week, Hackensack Brewing Company.
Oh yes. I'm gonna see you Saturday, right?
Plus this, I should be there.
What's up?
It's this man's 58th birthday, and Awesome 2 is also
Okay.
supposed to be at.
Okay.
Awesome
49,
2
bro.
is supposed to be
49.
at Awesome 2. Okay, there you go. Not there yet. But Awesome 2 is supposed to be at
Mm.
Hackensack Brewery.
Hackensack Brewing, right? Next
Allegedly, some
Saturday.
special guests are going to be
Up,
in the building as well.
yep. So we're gonna go up there. Hopefully, it should be a dope time. Hopefully, the homie Mike Jones cuts out a little space for us, for the family, as
I
always.
think he will.
But that's it.
I think you will.
All
Jamal,
right, cool.
if you need, if you can, you should make that event, bro. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I'm gonna try and come up there. My niece is graduating next weekend. Let me just see what day it is, but I'm gonna try and come up there.
All right, cool.
Cool. And let's hope for great weather too, man. But anyway, that's it. Peace. We'll see y'all next week.
Later.
Peace.